This surveillance camera costs 40 euros, and today I'm going to install it here on the office. It does 360 rotation, has motion detection, follows people, it records in 2K, and although it can store footage on a memory card, I will be pairing it with the Home Hub Pro, which has a hard drive and can centralize all the Reolink cameras up to 24. This is the Reolink E1 Zoom, and there are 3 different models on the E1. This one is the most expensive, roughly 70 euros or so, but there is the E1, 38 euros more or less, and the E1 Pro, which costs 40 euros. And if I had to make a choice, I would go for the E1 Pro, which does everything that this one does, with the exception of the zoom. To install it, it's really simple. I can just place it on top of a table and plug it in. That is it. And since it rotates 360 degrees, we can see everything around. It also comes with all the necessary accessories so that we can put it on a wall. Now, I will be connecting via Wi-Fi, but if you prefer a wired connection, it also has the RJ45 Ethernet connection. And if you are watching this video on your Windows 10 or 11 computer and you still haven't activated and can't even edit your desktop icons, don't forget to check out cdksales.com, where we can find budget official OEM keys at an affordable price, and with the coupon code that you can see on screen and down below on the video description, it will get even cheaper. Now, in terms of the installation, let's go for it. And there we go, easy as this. Wall mounted, so really easy to put it on a table, but also on the wall. Now, the only downside is that I put it on an angle and it's supposed to be mounted either vertically or horizontally, and we can change the direction, but in my particular case I put it right on a corner, so it's a bit on the side. So I will have to figure out if I can rotate it. As you could see, it did detect motion when I did like this, and it's filming us at this moment, and it's recording on the Home Hub Pro, which is somewhere right over there. Now, I just needed to mount the bracket on a wall and screw the camera in place. Really easy, and as I do have a fake ceiling and also fake walls, if I can say so, it's dry wall, but I do have a space between so that I can make a lot of changes, which is something that I do. Now, I had prepared this power adapter here, which I've shared quite a few times, this kind of power adapter, which to me it's a lot useful because it's much smaller than the power adapter that comes with any device, and we can just put on any junction box. And I had this one prepared, but as I have the fake ceiling and I actually had a socket right over there that I didn't remember, I just used the original power adapter. So I'm not really sure if I'm going to leave the original or if I'm going to put this one, but we will see that further on because it works either way. And I did share some videos how to choose the ideal power adapter depending on the device that we have. That in this particular case, it's the Reolink E1 Zoom, which is no longer with me. It's right over there spying if I'm working or not. Now, to pair it, it's super simple. We have seen the Reolink app, which is super easy to use. I just paired the camera, and I did pair the first time as if it was the only camera that I had. So I can just use the micro SD cards and that is it. I will be able to record any footage. But as I do have the Home Hub Pro, what I did was to scan my network for cameras, and then it found this new camera and added to my existing one. So now everything is centralized and recorded to the hard drive. Now, the Home Hub Pro is completely optional. If you just want to get one single camera, then you just get one single camera. If 1 or 2 months later you get another one, that's totally fine. But probably in 6 months, 1 year, and if you reach a point where you have 6 or 7 or 9 cameras, probably you will find yourself in a situation that you think, okay, I would like to centralize everything. And that's where the Home Hub Pro comes in. I'm loving this system because I don't need to purchase it immediately when I purchase any camera, but I do have the freedom to later on along the road, I can add it to my system, and with the internal hard drive that I do have right over here, which we can go up to 16 terabytes, I will be able to record everything centralized. And besides being able to see the footage on my phone, I can also see the footage on the TV connected, for example, for the Home Hub Pro. So I will leave links links down below for the camera and the Home Hub Pro, but it's completely optional. So I'm going to put it on its place. Within the app, we can watch everything in real time. We can access past recordings. And of course, the number of days saved will depend on the size of the micro SD card. If we are using a standalone camera, so if I have a smaller card, probably I will only be able to record footages for a few weeks. If I have a larger card, then for a few months. And if we have a hard drive, then probably we will get a few years of footage, depending on the size of the hard drive and depending on the number of the cameras that we have. Motion events are marked on the timeline. So you can see right over there those small dots. That's really easy and really useful so that we can find key moments on our timeline. Now we can also control the camera direction with the PTZ buttons right over here. So we can go left, right, up, down, we can do whatever we want. And we can also save specific viewpoints to jump to them quick. I did record 3 of them so that I could give an example. So if you have a few interesting spots on your room, you can just find those and then just click one button and it will go directly there. Now this is the E1 zoom model that I was talking about, and it has 3 times optical zoom. So if you are in a larger room and you need optical zoom, this is where, and this is the main difference that I do see from the E1 zoom to the E1 Pro. In this particular case, probably I wouldn't require the E1 zoom. I'm testing it out, I'm seeing its features, I'm sharing with you. But if I was in a real situation, I would choose the E1 Pro because for this distance, I wouldn't require the zoom. So if I want to zoom in right over here, I can just press the button and I'm doing things the other way around. But as you can see, it will zoom in on us. Actually, it did zoom into the other chair, but you got the point. We can zoom in and then we can zoom out. I did record some footages, but we can also see right over here on the way that it's placed. So I would say if you are on a bigger living room, for example, and you have the camera placed on a spot that you find great and you want to capture a great area with great image quality, the zoom will come in handy. Within the app, we get lots of settings for image, sounds, lighting. We also have the auto detection, push notifications, email notifications, and of course, we can turn these on and turn off. And it also has alarms if we want. Now, features that usually we can find also on higher end Reolink cameras because the software is exactly the same. Now, some cameras will have some differences. For example, the E1 Pro has one feature, which is it detects a baby crying and it will send us a notification. And talking about differences, the E1, which is the basic model, has a 38 euros price range, more or less. Links will be down below. And it has a 3 megapixel sensor. So it has a bit above full HD resolution, but it's not 2K. Then we have the E1 Pro, which is 2 or 3 euros more expensive, but it has almost everything that the E1 Zoom has at a much lower cost. And to me, that is the one that I would say that it is the best price for what you get. The only thing that you don't get is the zoom, but you have a 5 megapixel sensor with a 2K resolution video. And it has the baby crying detection, which the E1 Zoom doesn't have. I did search everything on the app and I can't seem to find that feature. So the E1 Pro has that in advantage. And then in last, the E1 Zoom, which is this one right over here, that has everything that the E1 Pro has, with the exception of the baby crying detection, but it has a 3 times optical zoom, which can be handy if we have larger rooms. And as it has a different optics so that it can reach 3 times zoom, it is a bit more expensive, almost the double. So 40 euros to 70 euros. This will depend on our situation. Hopefully you've enjoyed to meet the E1 Zoom and of course the E1 lineup, Zoom, E1 and E1 Pro. In a couple of weeks I will be bringing the E1 Pro. I will be putting it on the garage so that I can share with you the image quality and the similarities between the E1 Zoom and the E1 Pro. That being said, hope that you enjoyed the video. And if you did so, don't forget the usual thumbs up right over there, which is really appreciated on this side of the screen. My name is Roberto, and as always, I'll see you on the next one.